Welcome to another episode of It's My Turn Now, where everyone gets an opportunity to express themselves, to share their comments, to let us know what you think. Also, today we're talking about a subject that's sensitive to a lot of individuals. We're dealing with the foster care system and life in the foster care system. We have three young ladies who have experienced life in the foster care with foster care system, and they're going to share their various stories with us. And so we want you to feel free to share this. Feel free to give your comment on. There's also a link that's on here that you can click on the link if you want to come on. I encourage if you want to come in, you want to be seen, you want to share your thoughts with us, feel free to just click on the link, and we would love to hear from you and hear your comments. We're going to start. Going to bring them on now. We're going to start with Dolly Marie Ross. Welcome to It's My Turn, Dolly.
It's my turn now.
All right, very good. Dolly, tell us a little bit about yourself. Take about 60 seconds.
I'm currently 64 years old. I have been considered disabled since I was 40 years old because I'm a 3-time stroke survivor, two vehicle accident survivor as recently as 2 years ago.
Wow.
So I have been battling health issues for a long time.
Wow. Okay. Well, but thank God, by the grace of God, like God is really taking care of you, and we're glad that you are still thriving, surviving, and thriving. Thank you. April, welcome to It's My Turn Now. Can't hear you,
It's my
April.
turn now.
All right.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, ma'am. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
I am 34 years old. I have a 9-year-old daughter that I love more than anything. I've been a teacher since 2012, and I have a business called Fit Kids Indie. It's like a fitness by play program for children ages 2 to 12.
Okay.
That's pretty. I love the Lord. That's pretty much all.
All right. Very good. Thanks for sharing that with us. Now, Chandra, we're certainly glad to have Chandra on here. Chandra agreed to appear on the program on short notice, and so we really appreciate that. Chandra has experience with the child foster care system. And Carol and Boy, we see you on here. We're going to bring you on in just a few minutes. Okay, just be patient with us. We're glad for those who are in the background. Again, if you want to come on, Carol has already logged on. She wants to come on and share her wisdom with us. If you'd like to come on, there's a link on my page, my Facebook page, that you can click on. Please feel free to share this. There may be someone else that may want to hear this, share it, or give your likes and give your comments. Let us know that you're out there, and let us know what you think about. Let us know what your thoughts are. Chandra, welcome to It's My Turn Now.
Hi, it's my turn now.
Yes,
My name is Chandra. I'm 50 years old. I was employed for 21 years. My job shut down on me here recently, but God is good, and I'm still surviving, and I'm here. I'm just glad to be here, and I love the Lord.
Thriving and surviving. We have Cynthia's online. We're going to, before we really get into discussion, we have some individuals, and they may have some questions that they want to ask. And so we're going to start with Carol and give her a chance. Carol was on the program a few weeks ago we were dealing with occupational therapists, and she did an awesome job. She was one of the panelists. So welcome again to It's My Turn, Carol. Share with us what's on your mind. Can't hear you. You're on mute.
Whoops. Well, I just wanted to jump on and enjoy the show tonight. Donna Williams sent me the information, and hi, Maria. we used to go to church together.
Christ Church.
So yeah, so I just wanted to get on and just sit back and enjoy it tonight.
Well, very good. Thank you for your support. Do you have any comments or anything that you'd like to say? Questions?
No, I just appreciate you, Dr. Walton, and what you are bringing. I just think it's just wonderful, the things that all the shows that you are doing, and I just do appreciate you, and just talking about some things, exposing some things that need to be talked about. And it's wonderful to see your beautiful panelists as well. So I'm just here to enjoy tonight, and thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us on tonight. Carol and I work together. We both worked as volunteers with the Suicide and Crisis Line. And I was actually going to school one time to be an occupational therapist, got broke and dropped out. So I ended up changing directions altogether, but she continued on. So we worked across the street from one another. So our paths crossed a number of times. But thank you for joining us on today. Okay. Have a great day. And next we have Cynthia on here.
Yes, hello.
I feel like saying let's make a deal. Let's say, come on down, but welcome to It's My Turn, Cynthia. Did you have a comment?
Thank you very much.
Yes, ma'am. Do you have a comment or something that you want to share with us on today?
I just popped in, so I'm here to listen and to learn.
All right. All right. Well, thank you for joining us on It's My Turn Now. Thank you again. All right. Then. Okay, I'm going to start off. Each of you ladies have experienced being a part of the foster care system. I'm just going to start off briefly. I ask you, tell us about how long were you in the foster care system? I think we'll start with Dolly. Marie, tell us how long were you in the foster care system? And maybe you can just tell a little bit about your background as well.
It's my turn now.
Yeah. Now
it's my turn now.
Now you only have to say it's my turn now the very first time. After that, you don't have to worry about it again.
Okay. I was adopted at birth, and my adopted parents died when I was 6. So from 6 years old to 18, I was in foster care.
Okay.
So that's a long time. That I was in probably 9 foster homes.
Wow.
They were not very good homes. That's probably why I was in so many. I was in, some of them were my school teachers, some were people that lived in the neighborhood. Some of them were church people. Mm-hmm. When I officially went into the foster care system, mm-hmm. I actually was in probably 4 legalized foster homes. Okay. So it made a great impact on my life in terms of insecurity. Okay. I never knew where I always had to be ready at a moment's notice because somebody may not want to live with them anymore.
Right. You know, I'm going to deal with that, and I want those who are listening to just recognize that the challenges that are there, and that has to be pretty difficult. And I see Chandra shaking her head as well. I mean, a lot of times people don't understand, and they don't understand your story. And I'm sure there's people sometimes may not understand you. And a lot of times, I'm sure there's attachment issues and and there are trust issues. And so whoever you guys, married to, or you date, or even your friends, I'm sure there's a place in your life where you're very cautious, and guarded when it comes to dealing with people. And so we're going to talk about that a little bit later, because I'm going to ask you about that. Next, Shanta, tell us about yourself and how long, when were you in the foster system?
Well, once again, I'm 50 years old. I've been in the foster system since I was born.
Wow.
I was been in and out of the foster care till I was 18. So I never really had a steady home. I can't tell you how many foster homes I've been in. I've been in a lot. when I ended up being 14, was 14, almost 15 years old, they finally took legal rights from my mom and
Mhm.
put me up for adoption. Well,
Mhm.
I'm a teenage female. Nobody
Mhm.
wanted a teenage female to adopt.
Right.
Teenage female, they think we're trouble. So they
Okay.
ended up shipping me. I'm originally from Fort Wayne, Indiana. They moved me all the way from Fort Wayne, Indiana, 5 hours away to another city, Evansville, Indiana,
Yeah.
and put me in a group home. And
Mhm.
so I was there for 3 years. And once I got in there, once I turned 18, I hadn't even graduated out of high school yet, because in the process of me moving around from home to home, I also had to move from school to school,
Wow.
which actually put me behind in school, because once I left one school, I moved to this other home. I had to go to a different school, and the school I was at was probably learning something that this school had already learned.
Right.
So I
Right.
missed out on a lot of stuff in school when I was younger, which put me behind, behind. And so I was still in school at the age of 18. I didn't graduate till I was 19, almost 20.
Okay.
Um, but the group home I was in, once I turned 18, they kicked me out because I was 18 years old. So I was pretty much on my own. So but God is good.
Okay. And that's why we talk about thriving and surviving the child care. And being a therapist, I've dealt with a lot of clients that have been. I had intentionally really thought about dealing with adoption and foster care, but I think those are two different areas. It's one thing to be adopted, but the foster care system is something totally different. So I decided, rather than link the two together, that I would just cover the one issue. And Deborah Williams, we see Deborah Williams that wants to come on here. We're going to bring you on in a few minutes, Deborah. Thank you. So we want to talk about some of those, getting some of those topics a little bit more, Shonda, that you brought up, and Dolly as well. Dolly, we know Dolly is Dolly. We know you as Maria, and so I have to figure out which name I'm gonna call you, Dolly or Maria. But April,
Either.
okay, thank you. April, share with us how long were you in the foster care system?
My story is kind of weird. So I was the oldest out of 8 kids. And by me being the oldest, I was always my younger siblings, like, I guess, protector or mom in a sense. So
Right.
I actually, okay, so because I was the oldest,
Mm.
I actually went into the system maybe when I was about 3 or 4.
Mm-hmm.
And I just remember maybe around 5 or 6, I kept getting sent from home to home, because if I went with my brothers, I was always trying to protect them and keep them
Mhm.
from getting into trouble and things like
Right.
that. So um, I went into the system by myself around like 5, and then I went to quite a few homes. And
And
as
what was that
Dolly
again?
said, I
What
went
what
into
type of home was that?
quite a few, and like Dolly said, a lot of them were not good homes.
Okay.
I actually was adopted around 12. I had been living with a lady for about what seemed like maybe about a year.
Mm-hmm.
And at that point, we had gone to several visits, because my biological mom hadn't lost all of her rights yet. And
Okay.
so, but she kept missing the visits. And so around that time, we went to the last visit, and they said, well, she missed this visit. She's lost her rights. And that was when I actually met my adoptive mom, who had several of my biological brothers. And she
Okay.
took me in too around 12.
Okay.
So I ended up being adopted around 12, and that didn't work out well. And I've been on my own since 17. So
Since 17, wow. So
Yeah.
you bring up a very interesting question. You said that you had siblings. I don't know about Chandra and Dolly. I don't know if you had siblings. I don't know if you knew who your siblings was. Now, Dolly, we talked, and I don't think, you're just kind of getting connected with some of your distant family members. But I wonder what it's like to have siblings and to be separated from your siblings. And we have two. We have Deborah Williams. We're going to bring you on, and then we have Shirley Walton has a comment. But just tell us about that, April. And I know that had to be difficult being separated from your family member. What was it like, especially being the older sister, feeling like you need to be protective of them, I'm sure.
Yeah, it was hard, but I know when I was adopted, my adopted mom had an issue with that, with me always being so protective of my brothers. And I remember her telling me, like, this is why you were sent from foster home to foster home. And the foster homes would keep my brothers, but they would send me away. And,
right.
And it was just hard because I knew
We kind of lost your audio.
I had seen them being, I'm not sure what happened there, but I had seen them being abused and mistreated. And it's something that to this day, I'm still just very protective of them. A couple of them have passed away, and, it's just, I'm still just very much, I worry for them and, think of them often. So it was hard.
Have you tried to become reconnected with your siblings?
The ones that are still alive, one we lost to suicide when he was 23. Another passed away in 2020 from a heroin overdose. And the others that are left are just out there just struggling.
Wow.
I'll try to reach out. Sometimes I don't know whether they're dead or alive. They've been through a lot and they're just really struggling. And so, I worry for them every day, but
right, well, we can pray for them and pray for their safety wherever they are. And thank you for sharing it with us. We are going to go, I think Deborah Williams is on here. Welcome to It's My Turn, Deborah. Can you hear us? You're on now.
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, welcome to It's My Turn now. Did you have a comment or a question, Deborah?
Well, I'm just here in support for Maria.
Very good.
Been knowing her for years, and I'm so proud of her. And I don't know a lot about her past, but we went to church together, and I consider her my sister. And she's a very talented lady, and I love her, and I'm just in support. Just to hear, just to hear. I just rather stay in the backstage just to listen, but just wanted to know that I'm here and in support for her. And and it is true, if you don't know where a person has been, there's things that people do say or act a certain way, you have no idea why until sometimes you find out and sometimes you don't. But the love of God inside of you, it gives out, it's something about that love that makes you understand. And once this is why, all this explains a lot, and you just just don't judge a person because you don't know what they've been through. And so just interesting. And I have been through a lot in my life, but I had I was not in no foster care or nothing like that, but it's just just I'm just reaching out, I'm just reaching out there just to see, because I would like to pay forward to things, but I'm just listening.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us on It's My Turn now. Feel free.
Yeah.
You can see this on my Facebook page, Anthony Walton. See my Facebook page. It should. You can go to Maria's link on her Facebook page, and you'll see where I'm on there, and you can click on my link, and you can you can respond. Again, I'm encouraging those who are watching here, feel free to share this with someone. Give us your likes, give us your comments, and let us know that you're on here. Thank you again for just being on here and taking the time to be here with us. Now we have Shirley Walton. She said, it's my turn now. What happens when you turn 18? How's the transition after 18? And I'm going to start with you, Sean. Tell us what happened when you turn 18, and because you indicated to that.
When I turned 18, I was in a group home, and they said since I was 18, I was a legal adult, and they no longer could take care of me, even though I was still in high school. I was a senior in high school, and they said they no longer could take care of me, and they kicked me out and told me that and put me in a live-in system program that pretty much would show you how to live on your own. And they still wanted me to go to school, they wanted me to get a job, and they wanted me to pay bills while I was a senior in high school. And I didn't know nothing about none of that, because they didn't teach that to me when I was in the group home at all. So,
well, I imagine, I imagine that had to be pretty difficult, transitioning from being a teenager to trying to be an adult and accepting responsibility. That's interesting. Maria, tell us about what happened when you turned 18.
Fortunately for me, I was a scholarly person, so I was ahead of myself in school. Since I learned how to read before my adopted mother died at 6 years old, I was already reading and writing. So by the time I was in high school, I was already reading on college level, and by the time I was in college, I was already ahead of myself. So I came out of the foster care system at 18. I had already had 2 years of college under my belt. So I was going to the University of Notre Dame, but I transferred to Purdue University. And then that's when I became homeless, because I no longer had the support. I didn't have support anyway. I always have worked. I've been working since I was 11 years old. So I've always had a job. So that always took my personal needs, personal hygiene and stuff like that. I learned how to do my own hair years ago. I learned how to do a lot of things because I didn't know if I were going. Sometimes I didn't have baths. I couldn't take baths. Sometimes it was a hard life for somebody as I didn't even mature in my body. I didn't have a period until I was in my 20s. So I was always young looking. I always looked like a kid, and I was underdeveloped. The only thing that was going for me was my intellect. I don't know where I inherited from, because I don't know my biological family even today. I was adopted from birth. I lived with my adopted brother until we were put in foster care, and the courts separated us. When April was talking about worrying for her siblings, they told us we could not keep in contact with each other, that he went on one side of town and I went on the other. But fortunately for me, like I said, I was ahead of myself in school, so I was able to navigate life from an academic standpoint. Even though I was in college and homeless, I still went to classes. I couldn't pay for the classroom, but I knew how to go to the library and look online. It wasn't online then, but they always had books for each class on reserve. So that's how I kept up with my studies. I never did get to finish college while I was at my college years, because by the time I made it to a time that I could possibly go back to school, I never had enough money because I couldn't qualify for things. Right. And so like I said, I have always worked. I just worked, and however much money I made, that semester I paid to go to school. The next semester I wasn't in school. I'm in school for the semester. Then I would go back for however many credit hours that I could get. I finally started working at the University of Purdue so that I can get tuition reimbursement and help me with some schools. But I had a heart attack, and then that changed my life.
How old
And
were you?
then
How old were you when you had
fast
your heart
forward
attack?
10 years later,
How
I
old
had a
were
heart
you?
attack when I was 19.
Wow.
I was 19 when I had my first heart attack. My second heart attack I had at 40, and I was going through a very severe and traumatic divorce, which learned that detachment is mental health issues where I can't feel pain until it's too late. And so I had three strokes, and by the time I had the fourth stroke, I had a heart attack and I died. And that's when they brought me back to life after 12 hours. And now I was 40, and from 40 to now 60 something, I have to really monitor what my life is like. It changed the trajectory of my life. It changed the trajectory of how I look at life. And fortunately for me, I knew how to read the Bible. I was in all different churches. I've been in when you're in all different homes, if they would send you to church, but they themselves didn't go to church. So I was a Jehovah's Witness, I was Methodist, I was Catholic, I went to synagogue with Jewish people, I was in Jehovah's Witnesses, I was with Baptist people, I was with Pentecostal, Apostolic, Church of God in Christ. Any church that's out there, I've been there. Mm-hmm. And finally, I came to where I'm here now, where I now understand boundaries, because there were never boundaries. Being raped, I was raped, tested at 5 and 6 years old, and 12 and 13. You know, it's a myriad of problems that you encounter as a girl being in foster care. And then when the foster care system don't follow up. They never came and visited. They never saw what kind of lifestyle we had. It was horrible. And to hear stories, even today, my heart breaks when I see these babies dying, because we do not have people that really are concerned for foster children. I'm just sorry. I was one of them. Maybe some did better, but I was not one of them. I survived because of the grace of God.
Right.
Not because of the system, not because of I even got church people put me out in the street when I moved here to Indianapolis. I got put out in the street by a church member of a prominent church that's here in town. So again, you know, I had to learn to trust God and trusting people, because not everybody had my best interest at heart. My husband didn't. And today I'm single because of that. I have to just trust God for myself. So from 12 years old to 18 years old, thankfully I knew academics. And I now, you know, I have several, I don't know how many certificates and stuff. I have probably over 45 certificates. Anything that I think I want to learn, I'd learn and become an expert in it.
You know, thank you, Marie. You know, one of the things I think, and from my experience talking to individuals, when you have you're in the foster system and you learn to depend on yourself, you find something to immerse yourself into, to kind of deaden the pain of your life. And so it seems like you were able to find education as an escape outlet. We have a few more people. April, I don't think we talked to you. I asked you about what happened once you turned 18. Did we ask you that question?
No. Well, like I said, I was actually adopted by 12. My adopted mother and I never really got along. I think she more so took me in because she already had the majority of my siblings. So by the time she adopted me, I was the oldest and I was older than, my brothers. They were small, and so we just never saw eye to eye. So by the time I turned 17,
Okay, we kind of lost your audio, April.
not sure.
And still lost your audio.
Um,
Can you repeat that? Because we lost you.
yeah. So, one stable.
I think you may need to move closer to the mic.
It,
You may need to move closer to your microphone or your phone so we can hear you a little bit better.
oh.
Okay. Don't have to make a slight adjustments because we still aren't hearing you. I tell you what, April, why you making an adjustment, April? Because we're having a hard time hearing. We're going to go ahead and Shirley Wallen said, "What makes you ladies thrive in life after being in this situation?" And what you ladies have said so far has been so heart. It just tugs at your heart. I remember I was taking a human services class, Ivy Tech, and there was a young lady that did a paper on her life as a foster home, and that always stayed with me. And she shared how that when she was in the foster home, foster care, she could not cook. They would not allow them to cook. Is that the same with you too? And so she said, so when she got out, she, now she has to cook for herself. I think we got the audio and visual back, April. You want to continue on?
I don't know what happened there. Yeah.
We can hear you now. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. So I stayed kind of wherever I could. And then I eventually got a GED because I didn't finish high school. Once I ran away, I just kind of felt like I had better things to do with my time. I ended up getting a GED, and then I went to Ivy Tech, a community college here in Indianapolis. And then I got a degree from there, and then transferred over to IU, and then got a degree from there. But I would say that I didn't quite, that kind of gave me a little something more to live for, and to to do. And I actually didn't get my degrees until after she was born. So just having her in my life motivated me and inspired me, and to just be different than what I ever had, and to just give her the life that I never had. So it's been rough. It's been very rough, but I can't say that it was as rough as some people have had it, because by the grace of God, God always made a way out of no way somehow. When I didn't have anything, God always provided. So really, I just survived by the grace of God. Honestly, I did a lot of things I shouldn't have done, and just did a lot of things I shouldn't have done. So I don't know how I'm still here, but
right.
Yeah. So
I imagine you ladies had to have some serious survival skills. I'm going to talk about that in a minute. We have a number of people that are waiting to say something. I'm just going to, Sister Shirley said, what made you ladies thrive in life after being in this situation? We're going to go back to them, but we're going to deal with Ezra Buffer. He's on here. He says, my turn. I just shared it on my Facebook page also. So he's saying he shared on his Facebook page. Thank you for sharing. I'm encouraging you. This is a very sensitive subject. I'm sure it's sensitive to you ladies. I really appreciate you being transparent. It's very sensitive subject. and we're going to get to some of the other ones. Jamie Gonzalez says, she says, oh my God, bless the young ladies. Again, it's very heart-wrenching, the stories, but this is what's happening in foster care. And one of the reasons why I want to do this program, because it brings awareness. A lot of people, if you've not been in it, you don't know. And oftentimes, I know you ladies can share with us, people can put on two faces. They can put a public face and a private face. And so I'm sure there are those in the public, they are very kind and supportive. And maybe you can share that with them. Maybe have you had some foster parents that are very kind and put on a good act in front, and then turn to Dr. Jekyll or Mr. Hyde when you were biting? So I'm going to start with you, Chandra, because you're shaking your head.
Yes. So we would be out in public. There would be foster parents that would take me out, and they're like, "Oh, she's so cute. You're so lucky to have her." And they act like they're so loved and they taking so much good care of you. And malnutrition, I'm about as skinny as my pinky.
Wow.
You can see my ribs because they wasn't feeding me. They'll send me in the basement, lock you in the basement as soon as you walk in the door, and dare you to say anything to your teachers or anything about that. And when you do, the teachers will call and want to know why you're so hungry at school. And she's like, well, she just doesn't want to eat. And I mean, I feel like a lot of foster parents are foster parents for the money because they did get paid for bringing the kids in, So I feel like a lot of them were just doing it for money, not for the kids. They really didn't care about us as we were children. But there are some out there that does. And there is life after foster care. You will be able to move on. It's hard, but it's possible.
I just want to commend you, ladies, because hearing your story, a lot of this is just new to me and is very heart-wrenching. But you ladies are an excellent example of being in adverse situations and pressing past those situations and being able to survive. And as we said, the subject to be able to survive and thrive. But I would just want to go back. What's it like for someone to lock you in a basement? And how long a period of time is that? And if I ask you a question becomes traumatic to you and it triggers something, please let me know, because I don't want, sometimes I'm sure some of this right here can trigger memories, and we don't want to trigger something that's going to be harmful to you or anything like that. So,
well, it was very difficult.
Yeah.
When you couldn't come up, but just to go to the restroom. It was hard. It was hard. And it was dark down there. And to this day, I'm 50 years old. I do not like the basement. I won't I won't go down in the basement. And I'm scared of the dark, believe it or not, 50 years old, because that's where down the basement, cold and climby and dark. You do have your ups and your downs.
Right.
But it was scary, very scary.
Right. And I'm sure that triggers those thoughts. You don't want some things you try to suppress, and you don't want to think about those thoughts. Maria, you shook your head when she said been locked in the basement. You shook your head like you could relate to that. Tell us what happened to you. What was your story, Maria?
I was locked in the basement. I was thrown down the basement stairs to get to the basement. Wow. Arm was broken, nose broken, ankles broken, ribs broken. That's part of why my body took a long time to heal, because I was beaten badly during my foster care. And unfortunately, I hate to say it, but that was the step up to domestic violence, which meant that was the next level that I was to experience with dating. I dated men who beat me. I married a batterer. I almost lost my life to a man who came in my hospital room and almost killed me after I had heart surgery. So I have trust issues with males, particularly Black men. I have trust issues with people who say they go to church, because most of the people that were perpetrators were church people.
Right.
Go figure. I have finally at 64, I'll be 65 in August. I finally can turn the lights out in my apartment.
Wow.
I used to have no lights out.
Okay.
No, I couldn't be in darkness. I couldn't even go to a movie theater.
Wow.
And I would be sitting with my, I have to they go like, can you be quiet? I was talking during the movie to keep my mind off of that it's dark in here.
That's right. Okay.
They call it they call it post-traumatic stress disorder.
Post-traumatic stress
That's what I
PTSD.
have. And then I just had these 2 car accidents within a year, October 2017, 2018, where a tractor trailer ran the red light, cut my front off of my car while I'm still sitting in the car, and then all of the airbags exploded, and it was just pure darkness. Well, that sent me back.
Wow. Panic
So,
mode.
Post-traumatic stress disorder is just not one of those things that you go to the military and come back. You have post-traumatic stress disorder from people mistreating you as a child, all the way up through adolescence and your adult life.
That's so true. I deal with a lot of clients who suffer, and children can suffer. You can suffer post-traumatic stress syndrome from at any age and from a number of situations. What about you, April? What about you? As have you had any experiences like that?
I can't say that I have. Not locked in a basement. I don't know that any of my foster parents had basements. I mean, I do remember being locked in a closet, or told not to leave the closet, or being beaten or not eating and stuff like that. But I can't say that I have any fear of like darkness or anything. But I do keep my door locked at night for specific reasons. Whether I'm at home alone or not, because I don't want anyone sneaking into my room. But other than that, I don't remember being locked in any basements.
Okay. All right.
So
very good. Thank you. Jamie Gonzalez says it's my turn now. Many foster parents take kids in for money, and like Maria said, the church people threw her to the streets. We have to take account of what we do to these innocent children, and not have them to supplement their income. What are some of these ladies doing to help foster kids? Suffering. And that's a good question. Thank you, James, for that question. What are you doing? I think, what are you doing yourselves to make a difference? Either one of you can answer that question. How are you making a difference with foster care?
is that for any of us?
Yes. Yes.
Well, I as of recently, my business, I just recently got a partnership with the Children's Bureau Indy locations to go and spend time. Well, I'm bringing my program to them and spending time with them, so that they can know that somebody cares. And it's not just somebody going and visiting. I'm going to take, my equipment and toys, and they get free t-shirts with, and wristbands and snacks and things like that. I just want to spend time with them. I'm not in a position to foster a child right now because I'm having difficulty with my own child at the moment. But even just giving back in the smallest ways, I try, whether it's donating or volunteering at the Children's Bureau. So this partnership means a lot to me because I actually get to spend a lot more time with the kids. Whereas before, when I would volunteer, we couldn't really go around the children. We were more so like collecting things in their donation center, or sorting the clothes, or the food and stuff like that. So I actually get to spend one-on-one time with the kids. So I look forward to that.
If someone wants to support you, how can they support you in that effort?
I didn't really think of that. I'm not sure. I guess
Okay.
by all means, please donate to the Children's Bureau.
Very good.
By all means.
Thank you. I want to continue to encourage those that are watching here. Please share this right here. Give your comments, give your likes. Ezra Buffer says he was adopted when he was 2 weeks old. Said, but I grew up with my biological mother and family at the same church. Now, the situation with Ezra is my biological cousin. Now, I was going to have Ezra on here because we were going to deal with the being adopted and fostered, but I wanted to focus more on the foster care side. Now, Ezra was my cousin, but I couldn't understand why he had a different name for years. I was a grown man before I realized, I think he's my cousin, but his name is different. So is he my cousin or is he not? And I was a grown adult before I realized what had happened. Ezra lost his brother last year, his brother Charles Alexander, due to coronavirus. Charles and I were very close, and when I wrote a book called The Empty Quiver, and I wrote a chapter in there. The very last chapter I wrote in there, I wrote because of his brother, because he said he wanted to be in the book. So the last chapter that I wrote here is called the Red Wagon, and he shared with me how that. He shared next to last. Let me see. I'm going to just read this real quick. It's a short chapter. It's called The Red Wagon, and this is what happened to his brother. And his situation was a different situation when he was adopted. And it says right here, he said, "I was told of a true story of a mother that had a child. The mother, after giving birth, had to be admitted to the hospital. The father was not able to care for the child because his previous 4 children overwhelmed him. In those days, family and neighbors were much closer than they are today. This was before internet and cable TV. During those times, you would sit on your porch and walk with your family, and often a neighbor would just drop by for a friendly conversation. There was a woman in the neighborhood who was unable to have a child and heard about the father's dilemma and sent someone to inquire if she could take the baby in. The father, because of circumstances, agreed to let the neighbor take the child. After getting word that the father would allow her to raise the child, she then sent 2 of the kids in the neighborhood with a little red wagon to pick the child up because they lived so close together, and the mother and father were able to see the child every day." And that's just a portion of that. I wrote that in my book as a tribute to Charles because my aunt was in the hospital and she was not able to care for him. The neighbor said, "Hey, I'll take the child." And so she actually sent a red wagon. That's in my book, the book called The Empty Quiver. That's just a portion of it. Ezra's situation was similar to that as well. And he was saying that he was brought up, his mom was a very wonderful person. There were circumstances that she was not able to care for all the children. Plus, she had health issues as well. And he was adopted by one of the members of the church, very sweet Sister Buffer. And for years, I didn't understand that. And then I came up later on to know. Stacia said, "Thank you all." Stacia Danielle. Shonda Williams said, "Lord help." I work for the Department of Child Services, so it's great to hear insight from the adults. Thank you. Sister Shirley Wallen says, "So sorry. Do you speak to a therapist regarding your trauma?" That's a good question. I'm gonna ask that. How many of you have actually dealt, and if that's okay, but I would say this right here: everybody can use therapy. A therapist needs a therapist. How many of you have actually sought counseling to help you process all this? There's a lot to deal with. Maria, you have. Go ahead, Chandra.
I am in therapy as we speak. I have been in therapy most of my life. I probably off and on sometimes, and it depends on money has always escaped me. My finances have always been fleeting at most because I have had a high turnover rate for my health. But luckily for me, I parlay a lot of my personal skills into being paid in cash. And so that kind of helped me get over the hump for some things. But the most thing to say is that I I I have had to rely on therapists because they have to be objective. They don't have agenda. So you have to be objective. And there are some that are not so good, and then there are some that are excellent. The one I have right now, she's going into private practice, so I'm in a recess with her. But she keeps me abreast to say, I'm trying to get your medical insurance online and stuff like that, so we can kind of continue. But when you don't have boundaries in your life, which was the problem with me, that's where the rapes and the incest and the what all the other stuff, the people take advantage of you for whatever reasons and stuff like that. I'm gonna say, when there's no boundaries, when you're adopted, when your mother abandons you at birth, your boundaries have already disappeared because she no longer wants you. So you have to deal with rejection from the cradle. So I have had to deal with rejection all of my life. Why I never fit into the groups. I used to I mentor a lot of I don't give back to the foster care because that's not where my focus is. My focus is with adults who have been broken for one reason or another. And as a master life coach and a business coach, I have had to navigate different avenues on how to get where I am today because of being ingenuity, the grace of God, the gifts, talents, and abilities that I have, singing, writing, acting. I've been in TV, movies. I've been recording music. Whatever my life skill sets were, I parlayed them into some way to get money so that I can get treatment and therapy. And each time a hurdle that came into my life, I had to rely on the medical profession to help me get over the hump. Why do I act like I do? If you don't, I had an identity crisis. Who am I? Who do I belong to? Who do I look like? Why do I have a high aptitude for math, science, and writing? Why, where is all this coming from? Why can't I have children? Well, why can't I never stay married? Why, it's a whole lot of stuff. And part of it is because when you're rejected from birth, you're rejected throughout your whole life. It's a pattern that's been deep seated in you that for some reason it manifests. And so I wish to God that they would have a mandate for government that everybody have 90 days of medical behavioral health, because when I mentor a lot of women, they have mental health issues, and it hasn't been because of foster care or anything. We have a lot of society ills, and so I'm able to tell them through my testimony how God has brought me to where I am, to enable them to say, well, if he can do it for me, since he's no respecter of person, he certainly can do it for you. You got brother, sister, children, grandchildren, uncle, I don't know anybody. I don't know who my mama is, my grandmama is. I don't know who my brother, sister. I don't know who anybody is in my life. Never met them ever.
Right. One of the things.
So I need mental health.
Right. Okay. One of the things is sometimes people tend to internalize what they're experienced, and the challenge is not to internalize. You are not what you've been through, and so sometimes people come to accept it and to expect it because this is what they know. This is their norm, and so that's something we have to be very mindful. Chandra, you are going to say you're going to answer the question.
Oh, she's already answered it. She said what I was going to say. Most of the stuff what I said was going to say. She already said it.
Do you want to add anything to it, your version to it?
No.
What about you, April?
I haven't done therapy therapy since I was a child. And as a child, I didn't find it effective. Because I didn't feel as though I got the help that I was crying out for. And then as Maria said earlier, she has issues with church people. I met my daughter's father when I was 17, and he comes from a family of a long line of ministers and such. And I always felt like I was always being judged and talked about because I was a homeless teen when we
We lost you again.
met. And the Saints was repeating. From there, I developed, and I mean, I attend church. I have nothing against people within the church, but I do not. I internalize everything. I don't tell anybody anything. I'll go to church. I'll be friendly. I'll talk. I'll say hello, goodbye, praise the Lord, whatever people say. But I will not share my experiences, what I'm going through. If I'm struggling mentally, I don't share that with anybody.
Okay. I think, and I appreciate you even.
No. I probably
appreciate
need therapy,
you even,
but no, I do not.
Yeah, I appreciate you taking the time, because to me, I think this is a therapeutic right here. You and sharing a lot of information with us, because you're educating us, you're informing us. But I think April, it would be difficult. And one thing as a therapist, I've learned that every therapist is not the same. And be honest with you, and I've talked to some Caucasian therapists. They can identify with African American issues.
It's hard to trust people when you have gone through traumatic experience.
Right.
Who is it?
I'm sorry. Go ahead. Were you through, April? You kind of lost you there. Wasn't sure. Okay, Chandra, were you going to say something?
Well, the group home sent me to therapy when I was a teenager. But I felt
I'm not talking.
Okay, I'm sorry. Okay. Go ahead, Chandra.
Okay, I felt like the group home sent me to therapy as I was a teenager. And I didn't, I don't feel like I got anything out of it. All they wanted to do was put me on pills. Medicine. She's got PTSD, take this medicine. She's got ADD, take that medicine. And just, it was just all they wanted to do was keep me drugged up on medicine. So to this day, I don't like taking medicine, but no, after I left the group home, I have not been back to therapy. My therapy is praying to God and thanking him every day for where I'm at now. That's my therapy.
I'm glad you got beyond that. Normally, a lot of psychiatrists, I was talking to a client, there's a lot of psychiatrists, they want to prescribe medicine, and they don't really deal with a lot of the root causes of a lot of things. And so they want to deal with the symptomatic, where you're dealing with anxiety. Well, we give this medicine, but we don't deal with the root cause. What's causing that hurt? What's causing that pain? What's causing that stress? And you ladies to really share that with us. Jamie, it's my turn now. Did you get Faith Church people's story and beaten by Black men? What could you as a pastor say to people listening to give a word of encouragement? This is horrible for all of us listening with the heart. It's true, Jamie. Thank you for sharing it with us. As a pastor, my heart goes out to it. As a therapist, I empathize that much more. We have to build and raise the level of standard in ministry pastors, if there's a pastor listening, please raise the standard of ministry, a standard of integrity, so that any individuals having a challenge can come to you and talk to you. Because I think that's one of the worst things you can do. Someone put their confidence and their trust in you, and you violate that trust you have. And so we certainly have to raise the bar. We have to raise the bar as far as integrity and allowing people to feel comfortable to talk to us. And so we need godly men to do that. We need godly, in counseling in the medical field, there's a code of do no harm to the client. And we need to have the same code of ethics when it comes to pastors and ministers. Do no harm to the parishioners, do no harm. And I would like to feel that anyone in my church can come to me and talk about and have the confidence that I will have the integrity to address them. So, Jamie, you asked a very good question. Christine said, hello. Let me see. Danielle said, thank you for your response. I think it's definitely trial and error when it comes to selecting a therapist. I'm glad you made an initiative to address trauma. And it is hit and miss. One therapist may not work, but another therapist may work. And some people have their areas of specialty. Some people can relate, and some people cannot relate. There's someone, Cynthia. She's apparently Cynthia's not on Facebook, so she's kind of inboxed me. She said, let me see. Were you able to create your own family and friends to trust and be trusted? I guess she's saying, have you allow yourself to have family members and friends, new friends, and associates, or do you still have trust issues with people that are close to you? And I imagine the answer from what I'm hearing is yes.
Me, I don't. I was married for 15 years. That's my high school sweetheart. So I was with him for like maybe 18. Mm-hmm. We had 2 beautiful girls together. They're grown. But of course, he cheated. Mm-hmm. And I accepted it because I thought he loved me, and I was just wanting to reach out for anybody to love me. So I just accepted the fact that he was cheating, but he still loved me. And, he would hit me. But I stayed because I thought he loved me.
Right.
I was just wanting somebody to love me. And I eventually got older and wiser and wised up and moved on. As far as trusting people, I still have a little bit of trust issue, but I realize not everybody is the same. You have to give them an opportunity. Never judge a book by its cover. Open it up and read it and realize and see how it is, because people look at me and they judge me by looking at me, but they don't know my story. And that's why I don't do that to others. I do unto others I want them to do unto me. So no, I try to trust others until they betray my trust.
Very, very good. I listened to April, and April kind of expressed the fact that you're reluctant to open up to anybody. Is that what you're saying? Is there anybody, a family member, or anyone that you feel comfortable that you can talk with, April?
No, I don't talk to anybody.
So what's it like for you to feel that you can't talk to anyone? It has to be pretty difficult.
I've found it to be easier that way. I don't know. I've just found it to be easier that way.
So people won't judge you.
Have to
have people judge you.
Yeah, I don't have to worry about and then my ex would say things like, well, you were an orphan, or nobody wanted for X amount of years of my life. And then, now you talk about, it's like, I don't have the patience to deal with people bringing up my old, my trauma, because I already struggle with it. I think that no matter how successful you get, once you exit the system, you're still that inner child that
right
that isn't fully healed. And as much as you try to push it out of your mind or avoid it, it's still there. And so for me, it's just very hard, especially when I've lost siblings from to their own trauma. And I just think that sometimes people will hurt you more than help. So
Right.
I don't like to talk about things with really anybody.
So
Thank
I
you
can
for sharing.
relate to April. Basically, what she's saying is that she doesn't want to feed the fire, to give them something to ammo to shoot back at her. You know, put the
Right.
bullets in the gun. You know, give it if the book. You know, give them a gun and give them the bullets, and they're just going to shoot it at you. She doesn't want to feed them information. If they don't know, they can't use that against you. So
And then
it's pretty good to hold it in and just hold it to yourself.
and another thing is, it's, oh, well, you've been through a lot. You're strong. You can handle. You'll be okay. I have gotten so tired of hearing that. Honestly, I really have, because I'm like, no, I deserve to feel how I want to feel in this moment. I don't want to hear about what I've overcome, or, well, you're doing this now. That it doesn't.
Oh, that's
help
the
me.
past.
Yeah, it doesn't
Right.
help me. So
Okay.
I don't want to hear that. You know, like,
Yeah.
you're
Let
strong
it
because
go.
you have to be. Yeah.
Wow. So it's like y'all relate to that. You know, I think April, you ladies, I think people say that with the best intent. I think is how you look at it. You know, and I think April mentioned about that. I was sharing with a client. We all have the inner child, the little child. I think we grow up, but there's a child that's on the inside of us, and sometimes we have to tell that child that, you know, we're going to make it. We're going to make it. You know, we're going to get
Right.
some ups and downs, but the child, tell the child you are growing, and we're going to continue to make it. Because if you don't, there's still that fear of not making it. But I think that's a defense mechanism too, and that deals with attachment issues. I'm going to respond to. You normally go till 9 o'clock, but this is such an interesting subject. We're going to take a little time. But as defense mechanism, what I'm hearing you say, April, is I don't want to be hurt anymore, and I'm not going to, as Sean said, I'm not going to give anybody ammunition to hurt. I'm not even give a therapist ammunition to hurt. A pastor, a preacher. I don't want to be hurt, and you get tired of being hurt. Go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
Especially when you deal with certain issues, and then you try to, like, for instance, I did counseling with an ex, and it was like, oh, well, Pastor so-and-so told me you said this and this. Or if I would be talking to him by myself, then it's one thing. But if we're in the room together, you're saying something different. It's just, my trust has gone out the window with, you know, that. I mean, maybe one day I'll seek like a professional therapist. But right now I'm not ready.
That costs money, and it does get very expensive. And I mean, when you have children, your money is
most companies have what they call EPA, where they will give you 6 to 8 weeks. I have a lot of clients, their company, and they're changing that. They realize the importance of mental health and your health. And so a lot of companies are offering, you may have to go to your human services department and ask them. Even Chandra, I know your transition job, they still may offer that to you, especially, you know,
well, no, I did have that. But they only offer so many visits, like six visits.
7, 8 visits. Yeah, I have a lot of clients.
And then that's it. Then you have to start paying on your own, and it gets expensive.
Take advantage of it. I
have. I went a couple of times when I was married, and it gets expensive after you go afterwards. You know, after you go for a while, it gets very expensive.
Okay. Ezra Buffer says and Ezra said my adopted mom was light skinned. She told me when she got me 2 weeks old, she took me by her light skinned mother's home, who took one look at me, turned up her nose, and asked you, couldn't find a light skinned one. And so these are some of the challenges. I imagine he's talking about a challenge he had with the relatives of his adopted mother, but I'm sure you guys have probably faced some challenges yourself by different families, you know. And I don't think we probably have the time, because you're adopted to a family, then you connect with everybody that's associated with that family, and they could be psychotic in the family that you're adopted into, and you have no control over that. You know,
Right.
so
I feel
Jamie,
like
go ahead.
I feel like as adopted kids get older, I know it was like that for me. You struggle to find your identity because you're just surrounded sometimes by people that you have nothing in common with. And I know for me, I was adopted by a darker skinned woman who would make comments, but then she sent me to private schools with all white kids that thought I was too dark. So, you know, it was like my whole life, I was like, okay, I don't fit anywhere. You know, I don't fit in with anybody. So I understand where he's coming from, that identity thing that comes along with adoption and foster care. It's tough.
Right. All right. Well, you ladies have really are educating the audience. You're educating me as a therapist. And I'm trying to get to the questions. Sister Strobel, I'm glad to see y'all having ladies moving forward. Deborah Brown, comment each of you ladies for your strength and also having the desire to get a secondary education to still keep God in your life. You had every excuse to walk away from God. But like a tree planted by the waters, no matter what you went through, you were not moved. You did not falter nor waver. You preserved, persevered, and were able to tell your story to help others for such a time as this. Thank you for sharing. Now, this is what April, you ladies, when people are saying, hey, you guys are strong, they're looking at where you have come from. That's what we're saying. You're thriving when some people may not have been able to, and I know you all have been hurt, tremendously hurt. None of us really know the degree to which you have been hurt. But to see you still moving forward, you know, you can, you know, Paul put it this way. He said, not having already have apprehended, he said, but forgetting those things which behind, and I press forward. So for you ladies, you may not be able to get those things, but you're not allowing the things that happen to you to prevent you from pursuing your dreams and your desires and your goals. And that's what we are, you know, commending you for. Jamie also says, you're right, Maria. They judge you, but they don't know your story, but you know God's glory. I pray you women will remain friends, encourage each other. You should feel what you feel, so watch what therapist you choose. Donna Williams, it's called employee assistance. That's why I'm sorry. I said EAP. I use an acronym, but thank you, Sister Donna, for helping us out with employee assistance program, because they are there. And whatever job you're on, most companies will help you with that. And I think if you can only get short term, but utilize that short term, just take advantage of it. You'd be surprised. I've had some clients that within 3 sessions we move 50% better, just within 2 or 3 sessions. If you get the right therapist, it will make a big difference in your life. It really will. Stacia, most jobs offer 10 free sessions. So she called Energy Assistance Program. It's an employee assistance program, but you have a lot more energy once you see a good therapist. It will give you more energy. All right, she changed the employee assistant. Okay, I'm going to ask you, how difficult is it for you to love other people? I'll start. I'll make, and you don't have to answer this right here. In a relationship of the opposite sex, male, female, what is the challenge that you guys find in getting close to them? Is it that in the back of your mind, are you hesitant, or what is that for life for you?
Well, for me, it's just I'm hesitant for trust, just trust, and I and like April said, when I do meet a male friend, I don't tell them my past because I don't want them to judge me. So just, you know, I try to accept them and get to learn for them. And then later on, I tell them, you know, as we get closer, but it is kind of hard to trust a man and for me, I've always just wanted somebody just to love me. So anybody that had showed me attention and showed me and made me think just a little bit that they love me, I tried to accept them. And then I'm giving my love to them. I'm doing all this for them, and then they start taking advantage. So it's hard. But everybody that's been in foster care, adopted, everybody's story is different, and they take different roads and they go different ways. So people react to things different. So
I believe everybody wants to be loved. I mean, where you're in foster child, but even more so, if you have been denied of that true love and true affection, then it's really hard to really know what true love and affection is until you see a positive model. And that's why I heard Maria said that she was in an abusive situation. She didn't know, because that's what she was exposed to, and you learn from what you're exposed to. But I'm going to ask you a question, Maria, real quick, because you were specific. You said you have a hard time trusting Black men. Now tell me what's about that. Tell me about that.
Well, I prefer Black over white because the white men were the ones that molested and raped, but the Black men were the ones that beat. So
wow,
you have to kind of like weigh it and say, and and I'm not trying to be facetious or anything like that, but a lot of men judge me by what I look like. They say I don't look my age. They say I this and this and that. When I speak, I don't speak like a ghetto person or somebody uneducated and stuff like that. And so they've already they've already had this preconceived knowledge or expectation. They say, I think I'm spoiled. You used to getting people to do things for you. And it's just ridiculous. A lot of the things that they have already preconceived without even really getting to know me yet, and let me tell you what I think, or let me show you how I behave. So, and that's mostly with the Black men. The white men really will show you they're more generous. I'm not crazy about them, but at least I get to go to nice places with them. Dave, I'm not talking about you, but I'm just saying, people in general, the Black men in general have been, that's who I married. It was a Black man. I didn't marry a white man. And who I've ever dated were Black men. I've dated some white men now in my later years. I'm dating some of them, but it's only superficial because personally, I don't want them to know the hardships that I've been through. I don't want anybody to feel sorry for me. I don't know if that's what the other ladies think. We don't want you to feel sorry for us. We want you to just love us.
Please don't.
Now, whatever that means, if you are mature enough to say, baby, I got this. You ain't got to worry about that. You ain't got to prove nothing to me and stuff like that. We don't have men to tell us that. I've never run across any. Church or unchurched. I done dated them all across. I done dated Hispanic, German, Italian, because I've been looking for somebody to show me what a real man is supposed to be like in the church. Really, I really am so disappointed because most of them, they are so hell bent on what the procedure of the church says. You have to be a bishop, you have to be an evangelist, you have to be a this, you have to be this, you have to do this, and their position sets them up for whatever woman they're going to end up with. I'm not trying to be a first lady. I'm not trying to be a missionary's wife. I'm not trying to be none of that. I just want to be a wife. But now I don't even want to be married anymore. I don't want marriage. I want a companion. I want somebody that will meet me halfway. And I know I can be a helpmate, but at this age, I'm done. I just want somebody to treat me in a respectful manner. I can laugh at your jokes. You can laugh at mine. Just a companion. Like I have a companion service animal. I've had 2 service animals since they said I would never walk or talk, which you see now I'm talking a whole lot. So but the service animal is a companion. I don't have to worry about trying to please her. She loves me unconditionally.
Right, right.
I have not met a person like that yet. Now I have a village of people that God has put in my life that I feel comfortable enough telling them when things are not right with me, and they help me. But far as just sharing my life with a man, I don't know that that'll ever happen anymore. I don't see it. I'll be 65. Like what what? I'm just gonna be single.
Okay, thank you for sharing that with us. April, you're going to say something. We have about 10 more minutes. I'd like to go on. We could probably go on for the next hour. This, I have to admit, this right here has been one of the most touching programs that I've had so far. I mean, this is really it. And I'm a therapist, and I deal with a whole lot of situations, but you ladies have really touched my heart on tonight, and it's given me a lot to think about. April, the same questions for you.
I pretty much just live in a bubble with my daughter. That's all I can really see for my future as of now. And it's not necessarily because I'm against marriage or anything like that. I'm more so just focused on being a mom.
Very good.
That I feel like I've tried to do the relationship thing a couple of times. I'm just not interested, and I don't know if it's because, and I've prayed about it. I feel like my heart is kind of hard. I'm not very open to love or interested in or ready for. So honestly, at this point, it's just me and my daughter, and we have our routine, and I don't really see that changing. It's comfortable for me, and I guess I'm just past the I want someone to love me stage. I used to want it really badly, but I think that after so many times of finding it in the wrong places and settling in my life, I've just decided that maybe God has something for me in the future. But as of right now, I'm not settling anymore in my life. So I'm just raising my daughter, and we're happy, to be honest. So
what I'm
my
hearing you
attention
say,
needs to be on her anyway. She's 9 and she is something. Ava's something, y'all. She's something. So
I'm sure she's precious. What I'm hearing you ladies
all the
say,
attention.
what I'm hearing you ladies say is that you all want to be in a safe place, and whether it be by yourself, by your alone, your child, for right now, that's the safest place for you. So, and that's important, to be safe, safe and have peace. And when you get into relationships, it is pretty difficult. Listen, we run out of time. I'm going to give each of you a chance to maybe a minute or two to give us your final thoughts. Okay, I'll start with you, April. And tell us, what would you like for us to know going forward? Those who really don't know about FOX, we've heard a lot tonight that we were not familiar with, because I've heard a lot. Some I knew and some I didn't. Not about you, but just individuals I've counseled with who are in the foster care system. What would be the most important thing, April, that you would like to leave with us or someone else? April. Okay, I think she's stuck. Can you hear me, April? All right, we'll skip you, April. We'll go to you, Chandra. Tell us, what would you like to leave with us? You know, what's important to you or something that you like to share with us.
I just want everybody to
Okay. All right. Go ahead, April. We hear you now. Yeah.
Can anybody
We can hear you
me?
now. Yes, I can hear you now.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes. Go ahead, April. And we're going to pause with you just for a second, April. We're going to come back to you. Chandra, we can hear you. Tell us what you were saying, and we'll come back to you, April.
I just want people to not judge people when you first see them. Get to know them before you can judge them. Like I said, never judge a book by its cover. You never know what's inside. And I want people to know that even though you are in a foster home or have been in a foster home.
Okay, go continue, April. We'll
Just
just say. Chandra, we're gonna let you finish, and then we'll go back to April. We talk Chandra. We'll come back to April because we're having a little difficulty with you. Go ahead, continue on, Chandra. Then we'll go back to April.
I just want people to know that just because kids has been in a foster home or people have been in a foster home, they're not all bad, and it's not the children's fault. So never judge them. And know if you are in a foster home right now and you're a child, that there is hope. And keep your head up and just pray, and everything is going to be all right.
Good, very good. Thank you for sharing that with us, Chandra. April, can you hear us now, April? April, are you there? Okay. Then Maria, tell us, well, are you there, April? Having a little difficulty, April. Go ahead, Maria. Tell us, what would you like to leave with us?
I pretty much just want people to understand that life is hard as it is, but it's harder for those who have had to navigate from very early on, not having the right people in their lives, which would be their parents. I know I used to hear it all the time said, well, you probably lucky, you more lucky than people. At least you didn't get to meet your family. What about people that they have their family and they mistreat them? That's not a good answer either. So here's what I would like for people to say is, you need to be a little bit more, less judging, like Sandra was saying, and let's make sure that when you see somebody struggling, there could be, even if it was even drug issues, it could stem from the fact that these people may not have had a stable home life or anything like that. Right. So right. I think it just bears witness that we have all struggled in our own way because we have not had a stable home. And we just, if it wasn't for the grace of God, none of us would be here today. You know, not really. So thank God for the grace of God. So that's what I would be just asking for people to be a little bit more godlike, love godlike. You know, unconditional is godlike love. It's hard because people are so, you know, we live in a society now that people look at us by the color of our skin. So, you know, they judging by the color of our skin, what they gonna do once they find out that we don't have anybody, you know. So anyway, I don't even know if there is something that I can leave with people other than you just gonna have to ask God to help you when you meet people. That's about the only thing I could say.
You know, I think what's too is good that those who are believers, when you find a godly church, you have a godly body of believers who will support you. And I think that's, you know, it's important to be a part, identify with a group of positive people. So I think that's good. April, we're going to try you again. Are you there, April? April, we're going to try you again. Are you there? We want to give you your last word, April. It's like she kind of froze up. Well, ladies, listen, maybe we can get her. April, we want to have the last final say?
No, I'm
What would you like to share with us, April, before we leave? Okay, we lost April again. Well, we're going to have to end right here. I want to thank all you ladies for participating, being transparent. I know it took a lot for you ladies to share some of the things. I want to thank Chandra because Chandra came on the last minute. And I thank Maria, I thank you, thank April, thank you all. Thank each and every one that gave your comments, gave your questions, and you helped to make this program what it is. Continue to share this with your friends, send your likes, send your comments, even after the program is over. Share it. A lot of times have people, someone may respond a month later after a segment and begin to start talking about that segment and share their thoughts with us. So feel free to share it. Okay, there goes Precious. There go your precious little daughter. How you doing, there, Precious? Hello. Okay, so you're back on there. We're gonna give you a chance to give your final statement, April.
I had something good I was gonna say. Darn it. Oh, I was gonna say that well, just show yourself grace. Show yourself grace, and show others grace. That's one thing I learned as a foster kid, and in growing up as a scarred foster adopted child, trying to raise a child, is just to give yourself grace and love, and just encourage yourself. So.
Very, very good. And I would say to all you ladies, encourage you. Each of us take different roles in life. Every one of us take different roles in life. And so we have to live in the moment. We have to learn to love ourselves in spite of even the mistakes we make, because everybody makes mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes. And again, you ladies are striving and thriving. You may be wounded, but you're moving forward. And I would encourage you all to continue, move further. And last question I'm going to ask, is there a network or social, some type of networking for young ladies, kids, adults who have, or that you know, who have a support system for those who have gone through the foster care system? Do you, either you know of a support system out there for that? Well, I'm going to do my research. If not, then I may just try to help initiate and get you ladies involved, because I think that's something that's very much needed. All right. So thank you once again for joining us on It's My Turn. Let's make it happen. Let's make it happen. I believe that this program was very much needed and is very informative. Very, like I said, this is probably one of the most touching programs for me. And but I'm so thankful for you ladies being a part of it. Thank you once again. God bless each and every one of you that are watching, who gave a comment. We'll see you next week on It's My Turn Now.